I want to address the peaceful march in the savannah by the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago on November 30th. Lois McMaster said, "The dead cannot cry out for justice. It is the duty of the living to do so for them. People revolt because they are unhappy with their social, economic situation and feel that the existing government has no interest in responding to their complaints. Once they begin to feel helpless and view the government as a regime, they quickly realize that the only way to make a change is to eliminate the existing government and replace it with one that will respond to their needs. This process usually starts with protests that could culminate into revolution. Mostly what the revolting people want is to be heard. The storming of the Bastille took place on July 14, 1789. The citizens of Paris were tired of lack of food, overtaxing, and seeing their country deteriorate, causing the citizens of Paris to fix things and revolt. In the 1980s and 1990s, when Thatcher introduced the poll tax in the late 1980s, many refused to pay in a widespread act of civil disobedience. There were protests across Britain, culminating in riots in central London in 1990. Not only did the poll tax end up being abolished, but the movement contributed to the removal of Margaret Thatcher from power later in 1990. In Trinidad and Tobago, there are loud cries from citizens, cries for constitutional reform, cries for judicial reform, cries for transparency in government, cries for burdensome property tax not to be applied, cries for a proper healthcare system, cries for freedom of choice not to be vaccinated or not, cries for economic opportunity, cries for access to capital, cries for adequate compensation to satisfy the current cost of living, cries for proper housing, cries for access to the internet, cries for devices for those who are forced to do online schooling, cries for the crumbling roads to be fixed, cries for water in their homes all the time, cries because they are hungry, cries from the relatives of those who are murdered or still missing, cries because they have lost a loved one to corona, and no one in the establishment has publicly said, "I am sorry for your loss." To the establishment in Trinidad and Tobago, I would like to ask the following questions. The same citizens who gathered at the Queen's Park Savannah peacefully on November 30th, are you going to respond to their cries now? Or are you waiting for them to storm your local Bastille? This is your global ambassador and poet, Diana Benskin, bidding you auf Wiedersehen until we meet again. Good night, my beloved people, and stay safe.